What's up guys, it is Chris back with another watch review, and today we have a pretty interesting watch to show you guys. This is RADCLIFFe. Now you might remember RADCLIFFe being on the channel a little while ago. They did a affordable chronograph. It had an ST19 and it was a racing inspired chronograph. They decided to do a dive watch and they sort of rebranded this in a different way than their other watch. This is a RADCLIFFe watch, but it doesn't say RADCLIFFe anywhere on the dial. It just has a little X there below the 12 o'clock indices. So there is no RADCLIFFe logo on here, which is interesting. It's a different way of actually making their second watch. They have a third watch as well. I think they made a limited edition of around 200 pieces that has a very similar sort of aesthetic to this case. However, it has I believe a textured dial. But this is called the Tsunami, and it is a chunky 300 meter dive watch. You get a sandwich dial on here. It's a very interesting sandwich dial. You can't really see it from the camera in the angle that we have it right now. However, I'll do a close-up of the dial. You can see that there is a ring that goes around the circumference of the dial that's in black. Inboard of that is sort of an aquamarine powder blue color, and that's sort of the track, the minute track that goes all the way around. And then a color that's very popular right now, a gray dial. And I do like gray dials. I think it's sort of the new popular color that a lot of brands are doing. It looks really good, and it gives you a little bit of a different dial from a plain white dial. It's not a black dial, it's somewhere in between, obviously, and I like that. It's a sandwich dial as well, so there is lume on the lower portion of the dial, and then another dial is placed on top of that, and of course that's how you get a sandwich dial. These are somewhat bespoke hands. They are very large hands. I'm not sure exactly what you would call them. They're sort of like stick hands that are a little bit thicker towards the center, but there is a lot of lume on them. And then you have that aquamarine again on the hand. So the hour hand is in a gray color. However, the minute hand has an outline in that aquamarine powder blue color. And then the second hand is primarily black, except for the tip of the hand, which is also blue. And then of course that little pip is not in blue, it's actually in black. So it sort of cuts off in the center there. Looks actually really good. It's a very interesting handset, something that I haven't really seen very often. It is very chunky though, so you do have to like a big chunky hand like that. As I mentioned, the logo here is just a circle with an X in it, and then right below that it says Tsunami. Down below at the 6 o'clock position it says automatic. Now this does get a Myiota movement. It's a 90-15, so you do have a date right there at the 6 o'clock. We'll talk about that in just a second. Below that it says Helium Escape. Kind of wish it didn't say that because the Helium Escape is right there. I think that is sort of redundant. We don't need to say it again on the dial. And then it just says 300 meters of water resistance. Again, I mean, it's just, I guess they wanted to add an extra line of text. That Helium Escape, again, is color matched to the rest of the elements that are sort of colored in that bluish color. The date is in a black background against the gray dial, so it actually stands out a lot. But it does counterbalance the logo there at 12 o'clock. So it does work pretty well, I have to say, and I think it looks pretty good. The bezel itself is in a ceramic, but it is a sort of brushed ceramic, which is very concentric, so it goes all the way around. It's like a circular brushing on the bezel itself. Everything is in white except for the first 15 minutes. You have a little track that's in a slightly darker blue than the blue that is used on the dial. Looks really good, and the bezel action is excellent. Let's listen to that. You can see I have no problem gripping it. I have very dry hands. It's actually really cold here in New York, and when it gets really cold, my hands get very, very dry. Very easy for me to actually operate that. And then you have an enormous crown. Let's do the measurements on here. That crown could be one of the biggest crowns that I've seen in a while. The only thing about the crown is that it's not extremely grippy. It's just very large, so I can grip it and operate it pretty easily. I do have dry hands, as I mentioned, so it's a little bit, I would say, smooth. I would appreciate this if it was just a little bit more grippy, but it doesn't matter. It really is very, very large. So Measurements on here and at the bezel and the case are basically the exact same measurement, is 42.7. So this is basically a 43 millimeter watch, depending on where you catch it. That's what it is. You see there are male end links here. They are changing these to female end links. I don't know if they will get a much better effective lug to lug, because the lugs are so short on this watch. And you can see the lug to lug on here is, you do get drilled lugs, as you can see, 49 millimeters with the male end links, which they are changing, is almost 55 millimeters. So if they could shave off at least 3 millimeters from that effective lug to lug, that would be great. Thickness on here, you do get a domed sapphire crystal, but that domed sapphire crystal actually sits flat with the bezel, so does not add a lot of thickness for a 300 meter dive watch. 13.2 millimeters, very, very good. And you do get a very nice screwed in, of course, engraved case back, as you can see. And it has a wave pattern, obviously Tsunami going with that theme. And there's just the spec sheet. You do get a quick release on this very interesting bracelet. It's like an engineer's bracelet, multi-link engineer's bracelet, which has screwed links as well, which is really just a robust watch. Let's take a look at the crown size. 7.8 millimeters for a 43 or just under 43 millimeter watch. That is excellent. Now the bracelet, let's talk about the bracelet really quickly. Engineer style, multi-link bracelet, screwed in links, very heavy, very chunky bracelet. And then they put on a buckle that I have not seen another micro brand use. I have seen other brands use this. I have not seen a micro brand use it yet. This has been used by, now this is a copy of an Omega bracelet. So I actually owned a Planet Ocean. This is exactly the same basic design as the Planet Ocean. Obviously, it's finished pretty well. I mean, it's not finished to the standard that I would say Omega is. There's a couple of rough edges on this extension here. This is a diver's extension, but I think that they're going to be refining this. They actually said they're going to make this a little bit larger, and that's a good thing, because the one on my Omega Planet Ocean, I would always have to actually open up the diver's extension to get it on my wrist. Without doing that, I was not able to get it on my wrist very easily, and that's the same thing with this watch. So pretty nice, very robust milled clasp on here. So if you are a clasp person and you like clasps, this is a very good one. If they extend the actual clasp itself, which gives it a little bit of a scissor, this will be very easy to get on people with large hands. I have a very large hand. I guess, you know, just not in proportion with my body, so I think I'm a little bit of an exception to the rule, but you could see that this is actually nice, and you could hear it's nice as well. This is nice. I really do like the clasp. If they correct that, it's actually something that Omega did wrong. I would like to see this, you know, the production version of it. You also have these oval polished buttons on here, which are very nice, very in keeping with the Omega. And it's signed Tsunami, and then has that little logo there. It's not the RADCLIFFe logo, but it's the same logo that you get on the dial. Everything here is finished nicely. Basically, the bracelet is all brushed, and the case back is brushed. Everything is brushed except for, I believe, just the little pushers on the clasp, and that's it. The crown is also loomed. So we're going to do a loom shot at the end. We'll check out the loom, and then you have the Helium Escape here. It's very slab-sided, as you can see, but I like it. I like a slab-sided watch if it's done well, and I think this is done well. And I like that that look here, and the brushing is very nice. I don't need a Helium Escape valve. I don't need any of that personally, but it has it. It's nice. I definitely don't need it being said on the dial. That's something that I definitely 100% could do without. So the price on this is $349. Now that price is not on the bracelet. It is actually on a strap. So they're going to be giving you a strap. It's a silicone strap instead of the bracelet on here, the engineer's bracelet. If you want the engineer's bracelet, I believe it is an upcharge. I don't know what that price is yet. However, it's a very nice strap. They don't have a signed buckle on here. I assume that they will be giving you a signed buckle because this is not in production yet. They're going to Kickstarter, I think, February 8th, so it's actually pretty soon. If you are interested in them, obviously I'll put a link down to their website below. You could subscribe to their newsletter or just check out Kickstarter on February 8th. But $349 is a really good price for this watch. Even on the strap, I'm not sure how much extra they're charging for the bracelet. It is a very chunky, robust, well-made dive watch. If they correct some of the little issues, as I mentioned, like the male end links, I think a lot of people in the comments, people that I talk to on a regular basis, everybody wants female end links. It doesn't matter anymore how big your wrist is and all of that stuff. People just want a shorter, effective lug to lug. They want it to be true to the lug size, and I don't blame them. I feel the same way because it's a little bit harder to engineer the bracelet with female end links, but I think it's worth it. And it'll appeal to a broader audience for the brand, and I think that makes a lot more sense for them. Also, the clasp, if the clasp gets a little bit larger, it'll be easier for me to put on my wrist. Really quickly, let me show you what I have on my wrist, and then we will throw the Tsunami on my wrist. So today I have on one of my latest acquisitions. I actually just purchased another watch, and that'll be coming pretty soon. But this is a gift for my wife. It is a Mont Blanc Heritage GMT with a salmon dial. I'll be doing a video on this very soon, unboxing sort of review. I already did a review on another white dial version of this, just a really beautiful dial, but this one I think is a little bit nicer than that white dial. The salmon and blue on here really is pretty awesome. You know, Watchfinder & Co. did a feature on that watch. Of course, they are a company that are affiliated with Mont Blanc, but I think that they really did like the watch. And it's a very interesting watch. So you can see, I can't get this on my wrist. Like, I could, but I could probably break one of the spring bars. So now I undo the diver's extension. I redo the diver's extension. Now, this diver's extension is a little bit quirky as well. It was quirky on my Omega as well. So you have to actually put it in correctly. Otherwise, the clasp won't actually close. But there you go. You can see on my 7.5 inch wrist, fitted to my 7.5 inch wrist. This is really nice. They also said there's going to be micro adjust, and I don't know how they're going to actually build this in to this clasp. I don't know if they're going to actually be using this clasp. Maybe it's going to be a completely different clasp. I hope not. I really like this clasp. If you are interested in seeing what the updated version of this Omega style clasp looks like, I have it on my my newest Omega that I purchased, which is the 1957 Omega Trilogy watch. That has actual micro adjust built in. I don't know if that's what they're doing, if they're upgrading it to that. If they do, that would be awesome. And if the price is the same at $349, that would be killer. I have no idea. But there you go. It does look large on my wrist. It does look like a 43, 44 millimeter watch. You do have a very large crown on here. I mean, that doesn't, you know, take away from the look of the watch. It makes it look bigger. The bezel, which reaches the edges of the case, it's actually a little bit, tiny bit over, maybe a micron, but very, very good looking watch. And I really do like how it's made. I think it's made very well. $349, I think, on the strap is very good. I'm not sure what they're charging for a bracelet. I hope they don't charge a lot of money because honestly, that's really the way I would get this watch, only on the bracelet. I like an engineer's bracelet, and that's kind of why. So very quickly, let me do a Loom Shot, and then we'll wrap up the video. So Loom is very good. There's only one little issue that I noticed. The bezel is loomed very nicely. All of the indices in that sandwich portion of the dial loomed very nicely. The minute hand, the second hand, you have the little lollipop on the second hand, loomed very brightly. Actually, the minute hand, extremely bright. It's the hour hand. There's a little bit of, I don't know, uneven loom application, I guess I would call it. It's exactly what it is. And it looks like there's down the center a little area of less loom versus the rest of the hand. if that's something that is an issue with this watch, because this is a prototype. Hopefully they correct that, and I'm pointing it out now, so hopefully they notice that when they actually go to production. But I think if it was loomed equally as the minute hand, that would be great. Everything else is loomed very good, very evenly, and very liberally applied with loom. And then you have that loom crown. Now the design on here is a little bit weird. It's got just like a 15-minute mark off, I guess you would call that, sort of like the bezel. And then you have a circle that goes around, again, like a bezel. Doesn't really tie in with the logo on the dial, but it does look cool. And if they did it because it looked cool, I'm okay with that. So pretty interesting. So if they change two things, I think the female end links, which is something that they said they're going to be changing. And if they change the buckle itself, I probably would be less happy. If they kept this buckle and upgraded it to the new buckle with a micro adjust, that would be awesome. Make it a little bit larger, add the micro adjust, make it easier for someone like me to get it on their hand or over their hand. That would be fantastic. It comes on the silicone strap. I'll do pictures of the silicone strap, of the watch on the silicone strap, so you guys can see. And $349. Not sure how much the bracelet costs extra. I'll find that out and I'll throw it in the description when I do. So that's really it. Tell me what you guys think of this watch down in the comments below. I think it's a very nice watch for $349. Considering it's a 300-meter dive watch, it is big. So even if they do something with the end links don't bother me at all. It will wear big because of the style of the case. It is a 43mm watch. It does wear like a 43mm watch plus. So something to consider. That's really it. Tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Please follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is WatchChrisBlog, all one word. I have some links in the description. Those links are to Amazon. If you click those links and buy anything, it helps support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra. However, I very much appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next video.